Hello and welcome to another edition of Waterglass Deal Reviews, where we look at companies and decide whether or not we would buy them. So today we're looking at quite an interesting company. It's an AI company within the B2B software as a service field. And I think today we're learning a lot about market dynamics. So let's get started. Let's have first a look at the KPIs. So the website itself, the business is about 2 years old, generates, as they claim, monthly profits of a little over $1,000 with a considerably low profit margin of 68%. Within SaaS, you would typically want to see 80% or more profit margin, but here we're seeing even less than 70%. I think we need to take a closer look at that. The company itself wants to get acquired at $30,000, which would account for a profit multiple of 2.3, which is below industry average, which sits at currently 4.1, 4.11 to be precise. So quite a deal here, you would think. Let's have a look at the landing page. So they claim to generate AI-generated copy for marketing purposes. So either it be for social media, I can see here, or blog content in different languages. And I think you don't have to be a top-tier researcher to understand that very likely some form of an LLM sits behind here. So let's dive a little deeper. Revenue has been declining quite significantly. So about 2 years ago, they were sitting at $5,000 monthly recurring revenue. But ever since, specifically throughout 23 and 2024, it has been declining quite rapidly. Page views, so as expressed, the interest for the business has been declining as well. What else can we see here? Financials, which we're going to look at in a second. Just a chart from above here in a little bit more detail. Profit and revenue have been declining. So you can really see by the end of 2022, there has been quite a hype in generative AI and lots of AI wrappers came to market, and this strikes me a lot as an AI wrapper. So you have a large language model or generative AI at its core, and you build an interface for one specific purpose. And while they could ride the wave of generative AI quite well, over time, as you can see in the numbers, there is less and less interest because those models are usually not very defendable, right? Because even OpenAI themselves said that if they see an interesting use case to be built on top of their APIs, they're likely to work on this as well. But then again, let's continue here. All right. Otherwise, there is not much to look at here. But first, they claim to have over 11,000 users. The engagement rate is below 1%. I think we would need to dig a little deeper here, what they consider as an engagement rate. The customer acquisition or user acquisition has been mostly done through organic search, which I'm absolutely sold on. I think that if you manage to get good SEO in place, and specifically when there's lots of interest coming from the market, I can definitely see that this can be the case here. Most of the interest has been coming from the US and India, followed by the UK. Fine, looks good. SEMrush does create an authority score from 0 to 100. A 14 is low. So I think they did some work on this one, but not too much. Let's have a look at the profit and loss statement. I had a look at this and highlighted some of the interesting findings here. So in July 2022, they generated even up to $20,000 per month in revenue, but they also had lots of refunds, apparently. So a lot of unhappy customers, in fact. This strikes me at least as having lots of unhappy customers. And these revenue numbers declined over time quite rapidly down to only $280, $300 per month. Another interesting finding here is the cost of goods sold is 0. So the cost of goods sold usually means what you need to spend in order to make revenue, as the name suggests. And this is consistently 0 here. So lots of questions here why they would not do proper reporting on this one. And I mean, this would then mean the gross profit is 100% if you don't have lots of or any cost of goods sold. So the profit margin probably isn't correct either. What else do we have here? I mean, overall, you can see it's a declining business and quite rapidly so. Yes, I think it's somewhat over specifically for this AI business, and looking forward into the future, I think it will be very hard turning around this business to any meaningful company to be built here. I give it a 2 out of 10 because, there is something maybe that you can work with. But all in all, I think the best days are already over for this AI B2B SaaS company.